This is our second session of personal pronouns. We had used personal pronouns in the nominative case when the pronouns were being used as a subject in the sentence. And in this session, we're going to talk about personal pronouns used as the direct object in a sentence. This is called pronouns in the accusative case. And so by the end of this session, hopefully you will be able to use these personal pronouns properly in the accusative case. Okay, this lesson is about personal pronouns which are used as direct objects in the sentences. So we're going to give you a few examples and we'll go over these. So hopefully by the end of this small session you will be able to understand how to use these personal pronouns as a direct object. This is in the accusative case, and we're going to start with the first personal singular, which is mich. So you're going to be receiving the action from the verb and from the subject. Sometimes when we were little girls and growing up, we used to take daisies and we'd say, liebt mich net. He loves me not. So this is the direct action of the verb love. Liebt mich, he loves me. Liebt mich net, he loves me not. Some people may say liebt mich net, but it depends on the region you're from. As we had discussed earlier, there are many different variations about some of the words that we use in different regions of the country. So we can say liebt mich net, or liebt mich, or we can say liebt mich net, depending on where you're from. Then the second person singular is you, and that is dich. Du kannst dich net verstecken. Deine Mutter sieht dich. You can't hide yourself. Your mom knows where you are. She sees you. Your mother sees you. Du kannst dich net verstecken. You can't hide yourself. You can't hide. Your mother sees you. Deine Mutter sieht dich. Sees is the action verb, and you receive that action of her sight. Okay, then the third person singular in the masculine would be him, ihn. You might be asking a question, or you can say a sentence, but I'll put it in the form of a question. Fahrst du ihn zu der Schule? Are you going to drive him to school? Him is receiving the action of the driving, and you are the one that's doing the action. So, fahrst du ihn zu der Schule? Are you going to drive him to school? Then the next third person singular is in the feminine, and that would be her. And we say that as sie. I'll give you some sentence here. We'll start first with an introductory sentence. Sie hat einen guten Mann. She has a good man. Helft sie raus die Maschine. He helps her out of the car. Helft sie raus die Maschine. So helping is the active verb, and she is receiving the action from him. Helft sie raus die Maschine. Okay. Then the next third person singular is in the neuter, and that would be es, which is it. Ich will es kaufen, aber ich kaufe es, wenn es nicht so kostlich ist. I would like to buy that, but I will buy that when it's not as expensive, not as costly. So, ik wil eens kopen. Now there if you notice, we're using the verb after the direct object. Ik wil eens kopen, because we have that helping verb, will buy, want to buy. And then sometimes we're mixing up as we say, as the Dutch get our mix all talked up. That's kind of humorous, but in a way, it is that way when we're using helping verbs like this. Ik wil eens kopen. Ik wil eens kopen. I would like to buy. Ik koop es. I will buy it. Wanneer het net zo kostelijk is. When it's not so costly. So buying is the verb, and it is the object of that sale, of the action of buying. So that's S. Next we'll go to the plural. In the first person plural would be us. We are receiving the action. And I'll give you a sentence that goes along with that. This is uns. De Mary had ons gedankt voor de bloemen. Mary thanked us for the flowers. De Mary had ons gedankt voor de bloemen. Mary thanked us for the flowers. The next one would be second person plural, which would be you plural, and that is eich. Wir sehen euch Sonntag an der Karich. Wir sehen euch Sonntag an der Karich. We'll see you Sunday at church. Sehen is the action verb. See, you plural. We'll see you. Wir sehen euch Sonntag an der Karich. Okay, we'll see you Sunday at church. The third person plural is them, which is see. And I'll give you a sentence with that. De boers sind gute Leute. De Nachbarn gleichen sie. Boers are good people. The neighbors like them. De Nachbarn gleichen sie. The neighbors like them. They are receiving the action of the verb like. So it's die Nachbarn gleichen sie. The neighbors like them. Okay, this should have helped you to get an idea of how the direct objects as personal pronouns are used. This is in the accusative case, and maybe we'll give you another short sentences in the next slide. Okay, here we go with our sentences. These are the personal pronouns in the accusative case, and we'll be giving you some sample sentences to show you how to properly use them. The first one, I am receiving the action. Me, mich. When I was a little girl, we girls used to take daisies and pull off the petals and say, he loves me not. It was kind of a fun thing to do. And we can say that in Dutch as liebt mich net. You can say or you can say depending on the area you're from. You may hear it pronounced slightly different. But liebt mich net. Our next one would be the second person singular, which is you. Dich. You are receiving the action. Wanneer du schwätzt, ich kann dich net verstehen. When you speak, I can't understand you. When you talk, I can't understand you. Next, we go to the third person singular in the masculine gender. We're talking about him, ihn. Maybe you've heard a noisy neighbor. I've heard some neighbors that have voices that carry throughout the whole neighborhood. So I thought I would make a sentence about that. De ganze Nachbarschaft van gleich so wicht. The whole neighborhood hears him when he screams, when he hollers so terribly loud, when he's so nasty. The whole neighborhood hears him when he screams. Die ganze Nachbarschaft hört ihn, wann gleich so wicht. So we're talking about him. The neighborhood hears him. He receives the direct action of hearing. Then our third person singular in the feminine case, the feminine gender, would be her, sie. Der Donny hat sie gefragt, für ihn zu heiraten. Der Donny hat sie gefragt, für ihn zu heiraten. Donny asked her to marry him. She received the action of asking. Donny asked her. Then another third person singular in the neuter gender, that would be for it. It, es. Ich gleichstelle up. Ich will es kaufen, Maria. I like that coat. I'll buy it tomorrow. Kaufen is the active verb to buy. We'll buy it. And es is it. So it is receiving the action of buying. Then we're going into the first person plural, talking about us. We receive the action. Also unsere Großtochter vor us to the store. Also unsere Großtochter vor us to the store. Sometimes our granddaughter drives us to the store. She drives us. We're getting the direct action from the verb. The second person plural is you. You plural. Ich. Wir sehen euch an der Fendu. We'll see you at the auction. Then our third person plural is them. They are receiving the action. Die Luisa hat Blumen gebracht und hat sie gepflanzt für uns. Luisa brought flowers and planted them for us. Now we're not talking about us receiving the action, we're talking about the plants receiving the action. She planted them. She planted the plants. Luisa planted the plants. Die Luisa hat Blumen gebracht und hat sie gepflanzt für uns. Luisa brought flowers and planted them for us. So I hope this helped you to understand more about the accusative pronouns. And these are pronouns that receive action directly from the verb. I hope you've learned from this lesson. And I made a little tip for you so that you could remember the accusative case. In the accusative case, the accusative receives the action directly, like a direct object. That is easy to remember, and that should bring you into focus when you're making pronouns in the accusative case. Remember, the accusative receives the action directly from the verb. The subject gives the action to the verb, and the accusative receives it. This lesson was brought to you by Easy Deitsch. Until next time, mach's gut.